You're listening to Key West Beer Tales, the sum of all beers, brought to you by the Cork and Stogie, 1218 Duval Street, Key West, Florida. The facts and opinions of the show and its staff are prone to exaggeration, error, and conjecture, and are often given under the influence, always given under the influence of drinking beer. After all, this is a beer show, it's about beer, and we are busily drinking it while discussing its merits, so what did you expect? Slurring, laughing loudly, name-calling, and belching are par for the course, so it's best if you imbibe with us in a responsible manner, just to get into the spirit. We always welcome your comments, whether we actually pay attention to them or not. Thanks for listening.
Hey! Welcome to Key West Beer Tales, the sum of all beers. My name is Key West Chris, and I'm your host.
I'm Danny Hoy.
Cowboy Mark. Now you guys introduce yourselves.
Kirsten Hodge.
Chris Robinson.
And Dave Sr.
And we have, as you just heard, we have Kirsten Hodge and Chris Robinson here. Chris is back again. This is Kirsten's first time, I think.
On the show.
It is
On
the
the
first
show.
time I've witnessed this show.
She's a virgin.
And she
Touch for the
and-
very first
well, it's kind of she's very pinnacle in today's show because she just came down from Minnesota and she made several.
Michigan.
That would be Michigan.
Michigan. Well, same thing. It's up there. They both start with an M.
Minnesota.
And I've only had like 4 ounces of beer today so far. Anyway, I'm sorry. She came down from Michigan, and she made several pit stops on the way. Picked us up some beers that we don't ordinarily get here in Key West. And the first one, we do get beers from this brewery, but I have yet to see this particular beer here. We have the Brooklyn Brewery's Pilsner beer, and Mark used to live in Brooklyn, so he.
Actually, Chris Robinson brought that from Pennsylvania.
Oh, you brought that.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, and I even talked to you on the phone about it. Or we. Yep.
And he calls himself a host.
Danny Hoy emailed me like 3 days before I was leaving, and she said, "Can you get some beer from California?" And I researched it, and I couldn't find it. And then you text me about Brooklyn and
Yes.
something else.
You
Weyerbacher.
You
Not
texted me.
Weyerbacher.
Weyerbacher,
You said-
yeah.
Yeah, you said not Weyerbacher.
Oh, not
I was
the-
actually at Weyerbacher previously that week at their distribution at their bar. They have a warehouse that's stacked with cases, and there's a bar there. You walk in, and 15 feet within the entrance, there's a bar. And anyway, so the day I left to drive back down here, I stopped at a place in Buckingham, Pennsylvania, and bought the Brooklyn Lager and something else that I can't think of.
Was it the Trogs?
Yes,
Okay.
that you also have that I'm sure
We're not having that tonight, but
Yeah,
we
but
will have it.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's
That's
the actual history.
You were texting.
That's
me
the actual
from-
history, Mr.
yes,
Mr. Ream.
You're right, and you were actually texting me from the liquor store.
Yes, I
So I should remember this, but I've got a memory like a sieve.
He does.
So in any case, let's go to Cowboy Mark, because Cowboy Mark, I don't know how long this beer has been out. I don't know if it came out after you left Brooklyn.
Oh, no. This beer's been out for quite some time.
Okay. We just haven't had it here in Key West.
Yeah. So I remember roughly about when I first started seeing this in the market. I would... 2000 earlys. That's about roughly, right?
That's pretty rough.
That's very rough. That's like sandpaper.
You get that in a lot of gas stations.
Whoa. I don't even know what that means. Anyway, but I remember seeing this and being like very excited for it. And when I actually got to try it, I was not disappointed. I actually think this is still a very good beer, even though I believe this one is made in
Pennsylvania? There's a
it's brewed in Utica.
Okay.
Utica.
So they, at a certain point, they outgrew their facility actually in Brooklyn proper, which they still use to this day, to make beer. And you can go do the brewery tour there. You can also do the brewery tour in the one in Utica. I prefer the one in Brooklyn, probably because I'm partial to the one in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
I'm from Brooklyn. But yeah, I mean, this was like one of my favorites. This is like right about the time I was getting really sick of the Brooklyn Lager. Sick of it in the sense that, like, it was like there were like 5 beers that you could drink. There was like, your macro brews, some regional, local kind of micro brews, and Brooklyn. Brooklyn was like really every bar had Brooklyn at the time, and because it was new, it was or it wasn't new at that point, but it was still newer, and it's fantastic beer. They still make all their kind of seasonals and specialty beers in Brooklyn proper, but all the other ones are now brewed in Utica.
And if memory serves me correct, it's all coming back to me now. I believe that the brewery that they do it's a contract brew through either Genesee or Utica Club.
I don't know.
Yeah, I believe they're. I know the Genesee facility is actually considerably small.
Yeah,
but I heard it was a contract brew with one of the beers that you wouldn't expect to be making a beer of Brooklyn's caliber. But it's a brewery, It's just a matter of how you brew it and the ingredients you put in.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not. There's a whole different lineup of people working there than when I was living in Brooklyn. And I'm not really sure what Garrett Oliver's role is in the brewery anymore. But he flies all over the place doing like speaking engagements.
Oh yeah,
and stuff.
right, yeah.
He's like considered to be like a guru of sorts. I mean, I always thought he was myself, but dude's a freaking genius. But well, I mean, like both business minded and beer wise.
Oh,
To have both of those smarts working on your behalf is like fantastic.
People are starting to quote what Garrett says.
Oh, yeah.
About the beers, turning into Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, like, well, also people are quoting him for like business things. I mean, like stuff he says about business.
No.
I have a question.
Yeah.
It says it's brewed in the style favored by New York's pre-prohibition brewers. What does that mean?
So a lot of the pre-prohibition breweries in New York were making
and throughout
pills
the United States.
And throughout the United States, but especially in New York. I mean, there were a lot of pilsners being made block to block in Brooklyn. Bushwick, Williamsburg were big.
And there were also a lot of Germans who
yes, and that's what
over the years had immigrated to New York, and if you're getting a pilsner, that's where the Germans always came in with pilsner.
So the evolution of brewing in New York is that you have a lot of Germans, Dutch, Belgian, kind of North Central Europe, kind of immigrating. And this is like before the Irish. So, I mean, they were making more of those kinds of styles of beer. And they were farming out in Brooklyn, actually. And then the farms, when more and more people came to Brooklyn to live and whatever, they kind of built up a little bit. And eventually that turned into, the local farmer making beer. Mm-hmm. And we'll touch on that a little bit later with the specific style. And to requiring actually a brewery, and then that brewery in that neighborhood eventually became inefficient for serving a larger kind of group of neighborhoods. So then there would be another one that would pop up, and another one, and another one.
And then Prohibition hit, and they all went out of business.
Yeah, then Prohibition hit, and everything went to pot.
Went to pot, yeah. Well, one thing I do notice about this beer
and jazz.
is that I'm looking at the ingredients, and to me it tastes like a very German style pilsner.
Yes.
And if you look at it uses two different types of Hallertauer hops. It also uses the Czech Saz hops, and it uses Vanguard, which is an American hop. Alcohol is typical pilsner, 5.1. IBU's 33. I think Pilsner Urquell is 35 when we did that one way back when. Oh, I just hit my microphone. I'm sorry. The interesting thing is they have the original gravity is 12 degrees, which is the exact same as Pilsner Urquell.
Yes.
So I think this is a wonderful beer. I'm very.
It's a very
impressed
fine
with it.
beer.
Very
I also like that they offer the calorie information as well. It's 155 calories.
No, that's not bad. That's like a half a meal.
I found a couple of beers that were doing that today.
It's like a half. That's like 2/3 of your dinner. Should be. Unless
Should
you
be,
go eat-
unless you go eat breakfast with beer.
No, or you have Banana Foster's, like French toast or something.
Oh, I wouldn't. See, I drink my calories.
Yeah.
I eat like a very well balanced diet, but
Yeah.
the one thing I have against me is beer and whiskey.
Yeah, whiskey's really fine. And beer. Both fine.
It's fine.
They're a good combination, especially if you're doing Scotch or Irish whiskey and beer, because they're all malt products, and they really complement each other very well.
I like that. I would compliment that too. Oh, wait.
As opposed to
I would be complimentary.
as opposed to American whiskey, which uses a little bit of barley,
Thank you.
but it's also uses a lot of corn, whereas
And or rye.
which isn't used for the most part in the types of beers we're drinking. Let's just say.
So again, this is my typical German pairing:
Yeah.
sausage, sauerkraut,
Yep.
pickles, potato salad, pretzels.
German potato salad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With bacon in it.
Oh, with bacon.
Scrapple.
No.
Scrapple.
Get the hell out of here. Scrapple tastes like death.
Especially if you eat it raw with a spoon.
Yeah.
So for all of those out there in Radioland who don't know, Scrapple is kind of an indigenous sausage to the Pennsylvania Dutch area of Pennsylvania.
It's a combination of liver pudding and
Snout.
Brain.
Yeah.
it's liver pudding or ligaments. It's liver
Brain, ligaments, and tendons.
It's liver pudding and
Snout.
basically hominy.
Yeah, well, and also
yeah,
hominy.
and hominy. Yeah.
Which is interesting because
Pig snouts.
Danny and I have been working on our hominies in the band. It's coming up pretty good.
I think it's a little bit different kind of hominy. I would actually even like this with something a little bit sweet. I would go with like apple pie, but this is not. They also have a pennant ale, which they tout as their baseball beer. But this is a perfect baseball beer for me.
Yeah.
Hot summer,
Oh yeah,
slugging back,
Yankee Stadium.
Yankee Stadium, or in my case, Cyclone Stadium,
Cyclone?
Where's Cyclone Stadium?
Brooklyn Cyclones in Coney Island.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Corn
Are
dog.
they a minor league team?
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love minor league baseball.
I think
so
they're
much more
double A,
fun.
not triple A. I think.
Yeah,
I'm sure they're not
I saw
AAA.
a very young Mr. Jeter
Ooh.
running bases.
All right. Now look at him.
Dave, what about you?
Wonder if he drinks Brooklyn beer.
Oh, great German beer, German sausages, bratwurst,
How about
just
a
like
cigar?
Mark said.
No cigar.
No, this is the first beer, just a warm up beer, just to have a sausage, relax.
All right.
Yeah.
So
Smoke
again,
a sausage.
this is definitely like when I was like hanging out in the Czech Republic during the summer. It was hot and everything smelled like sausage there, and it was just everyone
How
was
are
sweating.
Czech sausages?
They're good. Well, I mean, they're basically brats. I mean, like
Oh, are they?
yeah.
Okay.
This, they're a little bit. This is like funky. It's like it's a good beer. It's like, but you could drink it
You could-
hot
yeah,
weather.
yeah.
I mean, like I would even
Perfect
drink
hot
this
weather
like
beer.
camping in the fall. Like
Oh, yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah, you could drink this beer all year long.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Move on.
Anybody
Move on.
else?
Yeah. Nice beer. A little bit light on the body. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying it's a little bit light on the body. That's probably where it's a little bit different than the German or the Czech, but nice beer.
Yeah, I think so too. I agree.
Amen.
And, yeah, Garrett did a great job at this beer.
Thanks, Garrett.
Woohoo!
We appreciate
down
your
for the
beer.
show.
What's that?
You have his phone number, don't you?
Oh, this,
Can you text him?
no.
Garrett Oliver. Calling Garrett Oliver. We're in Key West. You want to come here, don't you? It's fun.
The last time I sent him an email, I never heard back from him, and then I was like, "Oh, I'm that friend."
Yeah.
He changed his email address after that.
Yeah,
Thanks for bringing
sorry,
us beer,
Mark.
Chris Robinson.
yeah.
Thank
oh,
you.
Chris, for going out of your way and thinking of us. And
Certainly.
Hi, this is Danny Hoy, and you're listening to Key West Beer Tales, the sum of all beers.
Okay, ready for the next one?
yeah.
All right, the next one we're going to have is a beer that I had a complete incorrect opinion on until I actually saw the write-up on it, and I said, really? It was just called Ghetto Blaster. Now, I'm figuring Ghetto Blaster is going to be like some kind of a super super